there. So thing number 4, Gary, we'll talk about that. The practical case for biometric security. So tell us what happened over the past five or six
Yeah,
days.
this has not been fun. So last week, one of the things, Rob, you and I talked about is that Deep Knowledge Investing initiated on a new company. We added a new name to the portfolio. We have a huge detailed report out that our subscribers have gotten. Our subscribers are up, I think, 20% in the name since we first put it on the board. So great, good for them. That's worked out well. Um, the company, which I'm not going to name in public yet, deals in biometric security. So let's talk about why that matters. Earlier this week, I was suspended on Twitter or X, and then that actually made its way into a lifetime suspension, which was not fun. And, through the kind, diligent help of Twitter support or X support, um, we were able to get that reversed. And first of all, I want to compliment the support team over at Twitter. They were responsive, they were fast, they did the right thing. They got all this sorted out in about 12 hours, which under the circumstances is really fast. And
Mhm.
they were a pleasure to deal with. And I have nothing but positive things to say about the people in the support department there. But let's talk about what happened and why it matters. So, micro famous is kind of a funny way to say it. Anybody who has a decent size account, a decent follower account on Twitter gets spoofed. There are, people committing fraud that pretend to be them. And, if you're somebody like Michael Guyot or Lynn Alden, they have imitators, people stealing their identity and trying to convince people to do business with them on a weekly basis, maybe on a daily basis. For me, it happens every few months or so. And so somebody who was committing fraud stole my name, my image, my firm name, my firm logo, my banner, and set up an account that looked a lot like me. And then what that person did was blocked me and reported me to Twitter support, right, for imitating him. And so Twitter suspended me, and it can happen. They didn't know. And then when I went to go log into my account, I got a lifetime suspension because to them it looked like I had started a second account. Now there are two accounts out there with my name, my photo, my firm name. Oh my God, right? So um it took hours and hours of my time. And fortunately, Rob, you were the one who pointed out to me, hey, we found the imposter, we found the guy. I couldn't find him because he had, of course, blocked me. Um, but it took me hours to get this sorted out. And when it happened, I was supposed to be a featured speaker on a Twitter space speaking on the yen. And I wasn't able to do that. And these things can get serious. I know somebody who it took him months. I think he was locked out of his account for 2 to 3 months. And for a lot of us, we talk to people on Twitter, we do business there. Having that access revoked is disruptive, and it's a huge problem. Now, again, it happened to be that I was able to get a really quick response from the support team, and they were great on it. And 12, 14 hours later, I had full control of my account, and we had gotten the person committing fraud banned from Twitter. But it wasn't a fun experience. And anything that goes on for more than a day can create business problems.
No doubt. And so what Gary's mentioning regarding this new recommendation, cybersecurity company, currently that's only available to premium subscribers. The full report and access can be had with a monthly premium subscription of Deep Knowledge Investing. So if you're interested in that, please be sure to subscribe, and that'll unlock access not only to that report, to countless others. And yes, as Gary said, if you would have been a premium subscriber prior to today, you're already looking at 15-20% gains, which probably covers your entire DKI subscription for the year, or at least helps to hedge that cost. So Gary, any other closing thoughts on that? I'm sure we'll be talking more about this in the future, but right now we kind of have that under wraps.
Yeah, so let's take a second to talk about why biometric security would matter. First of all, if there had been a biometric, so I've talked, Rob, about how good Twitter support was, and they really were. Those guys were terrific, or people. You know, there may have been women on. I don't know who I was dealing with. Whoever I was dealing with in support was great. But had there been biometric authentication, instead of taking 12 to 14 hours and several hours of my time to get it sorted out, we should have been able to get it sorted out with a quick selfie. You know, here's my ID.
Right.
More importantly, let's imagine for a minute that the platform offered biometric authentication for people who wanted it. So not everybody's going to want it. Some of my favorite people to follow on that platform are on there using pseudonyms, right? Rudy Havenstein, who we talked about, that's not his real name. That was the head of the Reichsbank during Germany's hyperinflation. Stackholder, who writes on Bitcoin. Peruvian Bull, who writes on macroeconomics and has been great calling issues with the dollar. You know, tons of the people, Darth Powell, who's hilarious. You know, tons of the people who I follow and whose work I really like are using pseudonyms. This shouldn't be mandatory. But imagine, Rob, if Twitter had said to me, hey, are you willing to pay an extra $1 a month to secure and verify your account? Yeah, absolutely, I would, because this has happened to me multiple times. And one time I got shadow banned, and this time I ended up with a lifetime ban. Right. And it's stressful and it takes my time. And if they were to say for $1 a month, we will let you secure your account and guarantee you that nobody else will be able to use your name, your image, your photo, your logos, your firm name. Yeah, I would absolutely do that. And I suspect there are lots of other people who have had their accounts and their business efforts disrupted by people committing fraud. And so that's why biometric security matters. It's a way to lock up your account so that you're the only one who can unlock it. And doing that would have saved me hours and hours and hours. It would have actually been great for Twitter support, because instead of them spending hours getting it sorted out, we could have just done this automatically, or spent, 5 minutes authenticating me once. And
Yep.
it would have been better for everyone. And Twitter could turn this into a profit center. And so there are huge advantages to this. And when people talk about the use case for biometric security, my last week is a perfect example of why we're investing in this particular stock, because we see unbelievable opportunities for people to secure these things. Now, somebody might say, it's your Twitter account. Who cares? You only have like 5,000 followers. Why does it matter? Okay. Fair point. And, my response is, okay, but what if it had been your bank account or
Mhm.
your brokerage account or your health records or your hotel reservation, right? Or your Venmo account or
Right.
your personal email. Here's another great use case: people on dating apps. There's all kinds of fraud, all kinds of like romantic fraud, people asking for money, people pretending to be somebody else. Dating apps theoretically exist to help people move from virtual communication to meeting in person. There are some security and safety issues there. Listen, I don't think being on a dating app is necessarily a huge risk to your life, but 100%, if you're on those apps, you're going to encounter people trying to commit fraud and trying to steal money and put you in a bad situation. Biometric authentication would be a great way to, if not stop it completely, slow it down a whole lot. Put people in a situation where you can't try to scam people anonymously. We see tons and tons of use cases for this. And so that's why we think there's a really big market with a lot of valuable use cases, and why I have my personal capital invested behind this particular company.
As we mentioned, be sure grab a premium subscription to DKI. You'll be able to access that report and all other premium subscription content on the website, heading to deepknowledgeinvesting.com/subscribe now. Moving to thing number 5, Gary, to wrap up for this week. Thing 5 is weak economic indicators versus growing wages and growing GDP.